Okay, so I'm going to run you guys through how I create, or how I've been creating art for my Liberty Ace book coming up, and this will hopefully be a great beginner's guide to some of you guys who aren't professional artists. You can't just take a piece of paper and a pencil and just start drawing away. You need some help, and yet you want to create art. So using a program like Daz Studio with 3D models and Paint.net and Photoshop to trace with. We'll be able to walk you through the process. We'll talk about layers, and we'll talk about a lot of stuff that would come in handy for someone who's just beginning and maybe somebody who's a little intermediate. It just depends on everybody's got different skill sets. So hopefully this will be a great help to a lot of you out there. So let's go. First thing I do is I use like Daz Studio. It's a 3D model program, and as you see right now, this is a model of Liberty Ace, but you know the costume doesn't look like him. And I try to get the costume as to look as much like the character as I can, but you know I don't have limited resources to pay people to make costumes and stuff, so I've got this right now. It's just blue tinted, and it'll work though. Trust me. Just watch as we go through it, and I won't show you every little detail because I'm sure you don't want to sit for hours watching me work on this. But first we start with this with Daz Studio, and if you're not familiar with it, you can take your figures and you can move them around. First you have to get on the right tab. So let me show here. They make these words so small you can barely read them. Posing. Okay, so you get on posing. And my character's already posed the way I want them, so I'm not going to mess with them too much, but just to show you, you get the arrow, you click on a body part, say like your arm, and you can go front and back and move them like that. You can bend them and twist and so forth. And just any body part that you want to move around, like the leg, you click on it, and then you can move it, bend it, however you want it. And so once you get it situated, then you render it, and then you save it. Of course, you got to pick your folder that you're going to send it to, and then you hit. So I've already rendered this. This has been took me about 2 minutes to render it, maybe more like a minute, I guess. So hit save. This is already this, so I've already saved it, but I'm going to do it again. Alright. Now what I do then is I will come over here. Now this is the picture I'm going to try to redo. I'm just not satisfied with that. So I'm going to go and try to redo it, but we open up Renders 2 folder, and there it is, and open it up. Now Paint.net's free. You could do everything I do for the most part in Paint.net if you needed to, but I'll also use Photoshop because I just recently started back in Photoshop after years of not using it because I want to make this graphic novel I'm working on really, really good, and I don't want to miss out on any tools that I might need. But like I said, if you're trying to do it on the cheap, Paint.net should be fine for most part. But I'm going to go ahead and get in this here. Do me another layer. Just going to paste it in there. Okay, so I've got Photoshop open to start my drawing. I've got the 3D figure that I've rendered. It's open, and one layer. We're going to go ahead and turn the opacity down just a little bit. It's a little too much. I won't be able to see all the lines and stuff, but I want to see the lines that I'm drawing a lot better. You'd probably be surprised to find out how many people, professional artists, actually use 3D models and pictures off the internet and everything else these days. But I'm not trying to say I'm anywhere near professional though, but I think this will help most people get some good work done. Now, one thing I want to show you is this pulled string mode up here in Photoshop. If you're using Photoshop, this really comes in handy. You click on that right there, where it says pulled string mode, and this will help you. Let me try make that a little smaller. This will help you draw a more of a steady line. So I think it's better to use a 3D model so that your character looks the same as much as possible from one panel to the next. Now, see, what I like about 3D models is that it really helps with perspectives and stuff. I'm just going to kind of go around this here. Yeah, I got a little bit crazy up there. Find the eraser tool. Now I'm not going to use this pulled string tool for the whole thing, because when you get to like especially like facial features and things, I like to turn it off for that, because you see how especially when your picture is really big, it takes a little bit to get started. It not only does it take a little bit to get started, it just doesn't want to do fast turns. But like I said, it helps you stay steady. So if you're drawing like the outside body, then it really comes in handy. Oops, I got off there just a little bit. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the film and I'm going to keep on going. And, well, before I do that, let me go ahead and show you how I do the face. Take off the pulled string mode. Make the blind width a little bit smaller. Draw things like the nose. Okay, so skip ahead just a little bit. Just to show you a little bit more of how I'm doing this art. One thing with the 3D models is that you can also get all the, like if you're doing a superhero, you can get the muscles and the shadows in there a little bit with your lines, which of course is very important if you're going to do a superhero comic book. Got to show all the muscles there. If nothing else, just doing it this way is a great way for beginners to learn how to draw. I remember when I was a little kid, back then, we didn't have computers. We had to draw things when I was real little, and we had to draw things with pencil and paper. And I would draw Woody Woodpecker and Popeye and things like that. It wasn't all that good, of course, but I used to sell them for like 10 cents a piece. That is until the other kids got tired of it. Okay, now I'm switching to Paint.net. Okay, I'm going to use Paint.net to just fine-tune it a little bit better, and I like to use Paint.net actually to put in my colors and stuff as well. I guess because I'm more used to it than Photoshop at this point. But obviously you can use Photoshop to put in the colors and do everything that I can do here in Paint.net. It's just that I'm personally, I'm just showing you how I do it, and I do it this way because it's the fastest way possible for me. I mean, at some point, hopefully I'll be so good with Photoshop I won't even need Paint.net anymore, but you know, it doesn't hurt to use both. Actually, I use Paint.net. I used it exclusively when I did Caveman Comics and Monkey Monster Man and Subliminals, and those cartoonish graphic novels that I've made in the past. That are on sale on Amazon, by the way. I just love Paint.net's line curve tool. I mean, it's just so easy. You draw the line out, straight line, but then you can curve it either way you want to, and it's just easy for me. If you're interested in how I use Paint.net to do my other graphic novels, the Caveman Comics, and so forth, I've done a video for it already. I'll link to it in the description and in the video here. Okay, right here I'm just trying to open up some earlier templates I have of the character Liberty Ace, so I can use the same color schemes. I just take the dropper and click on it real quick. That way I make sure I get the same colors over and over again as much as possible. It's not, sometimes I get a little bit varied, but I like to keep the skin color the same, and etc. Now your line tool, which is located at the bottom of your toolbox, or almost at the very bottom, it's really easy. You left click, draw the line, you move your mouse over, you see the little dot. When you mouse over it, it becomes a hand. You can grab the little dot, move it down, and shape it as you want it. Then click off of it, and you're done. One thing, especially if you're a beginner and you don't know this already, layers are your friend. Believe me, you always need as many layers as you can get. And I do layers for backups, and I do different layers for different colors. At some point I'll have like his costume, the top part of his costume will be completely black with blue lines for the lines of the muscles, and then I have another layer where it's just blue. Okay, and then I'll take the eraser tool and I'll go over the black costume, and just on certain spots where I want the blue to shine through to give it sort of a feel like it's like light is reflecting off of the black costume. As you may have noticed, I sped this part up just to get through it a little faster. Notice as on this layer I'm going over the black lines that represent the muscles with a bluish tint, so that when I color the costume black, you'll still be able to see his muscle lines and so forth. Okay, we skipped ahead just a little bit. Now you notice that I am working on the dark colors layer right now. There's some white edges around there, around the blue lines we've drawn. It can be annoying sometimes. You got to go back over it, hide that a little bit. Try using the bucket tool, but then gotta be careful not to go crazy with it, or it takes up everything. Let me show you something real quick with the bucket tool, just so that you'll know when you're, of course it's in the toolbox over here. Pick your color from the colors palette over here. Let's just say I'm going to click in this area here. Now it has to be closed, whatever you're going to click in. You see, if the line was broken at some point, it would end up going over the entire image, the entire canvas. So right now, look, it's set on 27%. Boom. Now that fit everything perfectly. Now if I change this, go too far, it covers up the entire canvas. If I went too low, notice that it didn't get all the way to the lines of the drawing. And I can't see, now it's set to 0. Boom. But now it doesn't want to reach. But I can keep clicking and it'll keep moving forward a little bit. Just so you know, that's a very important tool there. Makes everything black. It's a good idea to label your layers. Makes your work go a little faster. And one thing I always mess up on is sometimes I get to working and I forget what layer I'm on. So you always want to make sure that you're on the layer that you think you are on. Let's color the belt a little darker gray. It's supposed to be white, but this is for shading. Okay, so we skipped ahead just a little bit. Now let me show you what I've got. Look at the layers. See, we have a 3D model layer. We have dark colors, and when I click on it, it shows it to me. Make sure it's lit up before you start making changes on the layer that you're trying to work on. There's light colors and dark colors. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the dark colors. And this is trial and error. I mean, I'm no expert. I know what I like when I see it, for the most part, until a month goes by and I look at it again. I'm like, did I really do that? And then I got to do it again. But let's click on the eraser in the toolbox, you see. And then you can just kind of erase some of the dark color. And behind it is the light color, which gives it that feeling, the appearance that light is shining off of, or reflecting off of his costume, you see. Now I've got this darker skin tint, and skin, just like costumes, can reflect light in different variations and different angles. When skin is just one tone, it just doesn't look quite realistic. You got to think of, where is this light coming from? It's coming from above, probably. So that means you've got to think certain areas of the body are going to be darker. Top parts will be lighter. Then give it a little, erase a little, couple places here and there. Just give it a glint. If you do something you don't like, you could always click up here on the undo. These pants are supposed to really be blue, so need to erase more. Question is, where do I erase at? So we want dark where dark's going to be mostly, so you have to think through this. I want to try to get some more muscle lines going on here somehow. Like I said, I'm always learning, especially lately when I'm working so much on trying to bring Liberty Ace to life. You see, now Liberty Ace, his character is like an amalgamation, I guess, of everything I've ever liked. He's got a personality that reminds me more of like an Indiana Jones kind of character. He's adventuresome, he's got kind of an attitude, but he's got a love for truth, justice, and the American way, like Superman, or at least how Superman used to feel. I mean, these days I'm not sure anymore. Kind of a Christopher Reeve kind of mentality with a Harrison Ford attitude. Yeah. He's not, his powers are not like Superman level. He's more like probably a little below Captain America. He's stronger than the average human through physical training, through the types of, and I'm going to have to work on how to explain this, but where he's from, this planet USA, which is way out in space, the foods that they have available and the general health of the populace is a lot higher than it is for people on Earth. But it's not like the same as, say, Kryptonian kind of levels or anything like that. It's just they're normal humans. They originate from Earth, and but living and growing in a different environment with a different atmosphere and different foods and so forth has given them the ability to live longer and be healthier than we on Earth. So anyways, this is what we got so far. I'm just trying to study it to see if I want to do any more. Trick is though, I want to make sure this comes across as looking like it is a black shirt, black top of the costume, and not blue, just blue tinted. So now I've got the logo already fixed up here, and I just use it over and over again. And my trick here is that I've got to make it look like it's coming from the same angle as he's standing, you see. And try to put it at about the same spot every time. I use the line of the chest to try to line up the insignia. Okay, so looking at the logo, I'm going to look at the layer here, and I'm going to double click on it just a little bit and see where it says opacity. We're going to lower the opacity just a hair, so it kind of blends into the costume a little bit. Now you see that line back there shining through, so I'm going to go here and maybe just kind of blacken it in a little bit so it just didn't look right shining through there. Now it's extended over too far, so just oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Gotta get back on the logo layer. Boom. Look at my previous images and say, is that coming out far enough? I'm not sure. I could just select the end there and pull it just a little bit. And I may end up going over this again later to make sure it's the right size and everything. But here's the other thing. Now, Liberty Ace has got flags on his shoulders. I have to ask myself, can you see those flags from the angles that he's at? Possibly just a little bit there. So I've got some flags I've already created that are warped to fit his shoulders, and I'll show you how I did that real quick. In Photoshop, to get the American flag, I went to Pixabay, and everything at Pixabay is supposed to be copyright free. Now I say that, of course, it's supposed to be. You never know. I mean, somebody could upload something that belongs to somebody else, or especially if it's a photo, so you gotta be kind of careful. But you know, generally speaking, this is just an American flag. American flags, to the best of my knowledge, should be copyright free for everybody anyway. There's nothing original about it, so you know, you can copy that and paste it into Photoshop, and then or paint.net, and start doing whatever you want to with it. But to get it to shape up for his shoulders, to kind of give it, to make the flag fit an object that's not flat, you go edit, transform, go to warp, And all you got to do is, you see the little blue dots everywhere. If you left click on them, grab them, you can move them. So you can move them around like this. You can move them around down the other way. And see, you just have to ask yourself, which way would that flag be warped to fit the object that you're trying to put it on? Or its shoulders of Liberty Ace, or on a car, whatever it may be. Okay, so we're back to paint.net. Let's just see here. So I want this to be, the stars should be pointing to the back on both sides. So I'll paste it on there. And I gotta look at the, if his shoulder was straight down to his waist, it'd be like that. But since it's up here, it'd be something like that. And I just smoosh it. You can just barely see it. Probably at this angle, I probably need to go ahead and cut an end of it. Like that. I'm trying to make it fit. Lower the opacity just a little bit. And boom. Yeah, I'm gonna probably say you can't see the flag on that shoulder. Now if I want to put this into another image, what I'll probably do is just take the select over it, select square, edit, copy merged. Now if you copy merged, you still got all these layers here, you haven't flattened them. And I could just edit, paste a new image. Now I've got one layer. I've got all the layers that I was working with flat. But there is one other thing that I might try here. It looks pretty good to me right now, but I could take this 3D model and see if there's any benefit to adding it in. I see some possibilities. And some things that ain't working at all. So what if I just cut some of it it's not working? For some reason I'm reverting to my hillbilly speech patterns here. That blue tint's definitely not working on the hands there. I guess if he was in the moonlight or something, that might work. I think it helped the face out a little bit. But I might want to just cut a little bit of it, but not all of it. So see what you can do when you hit the eraser. You come over here. It says opacity alpha at the bottom down here on the colors. If you take it down, then when you erase stuff, it won't erase all of it. It'll just erase a portion of it. You see what I mean? And you can just keep going over as much as you want until it's just right. Now, and hopefully by going through the process, if you watched the entire video, you've learned a little bit, especially if you're a beginner, And just want to say also that there's a link to my previous Paint.net video from a couple years ago, and it shows how I did the Caveman Comics graphic novel using Paint.net. So if you're interested in that, you want to click on that. My name is Tim Frady, aka TV Crazy Man, because this is the TV Crazy Man channel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and the bell icon, and all that stuff, so we can help our channel grow. And appreciate you taking the time to watch and comment in the video. If there's anything you'd like me to do later on, just let me know, and we'll see what we can do. Appreciate it. Thanks. Have a great day.